I've come a long way since starting the hardcore solo self-found Amazon, but I still have a ways to go. In the last video, I managed to farm an Infinity from scratch by running Arcane Sanctuary several hundred times. It came at the low cost of my entire sanity, but actually, I was never really sane to begin with, so really, I made out like a bandit for that video. I'll be running 100 maps for this video to see if I can get the last few items I need to bring this Lightning Strike Amazon to even greater heights. I'll be adding a slight twist to it, however. I'm going to be blind slamming all the useful items I find. In Project Diablo 2, there are these little items called Worldstone Shards. These little bastards are the lifeblood of this mod. When you cube an item with a shard, you have a chance to either add a stat, or add sockets if possible, or turn the item into a rare that will almost certainly be useless. This is how items like a +2 Griffins are able to exist, or a 6-socketed Windforce, or none of these things if your item turns into a rare. Whatever items I find, I will not be identifying them. I will have to slam them first. This will identify the item, of course, but at the cost of a Worldstone Shard, and possibly the item itself. Since I'm Lightning Strike, I have Lightning Strike and its synergies maxed out. I also maxed out Valkyries just so I have a meat shield against those multi-aura curse packs. Also, I'll do a gear check at the end because lately I feel like gear checks drags out the intro to these Magic Find videos. I'll leave a link to my armory in the description as well. Things kicked off on the second map when a unique phase blade popped out of a random barrel. I like it when this happens because I skip barrels all the time, and this makes me think about all the great items I've missed throughout my lifetime. This ended up being an Azurath that slammed with 26% crushing blow. Azurath was definitely a sign of good health because it's the more rare of the two possible phase blades that can drop. Map 4 gave me a unique ceremonial javelin. I would have loved to have had these little bastard javelins 3 months ago at the beginning of the season, but hey look, I finally found them. I hope they brick. And of course I get an IES slam on the one jabs I don't need, but I am happy to keep them. I am destined to have my head popped off by a quill rat, so I'll need these when I reroll. Map 5 blessed or cursed me with a unique ring. Unique rings can be a wide variety of things. This could either be a ring with plus skills, or a 15% Nagel ring, who knows? I'll have to slam these to identify them. This ended up being a Ravenfrost with +7 Vitality Slam. And on the same map, a unique Monarch shield popped out of a chest. RNG really does have a sick sense of humor, but a Monarch is a valuable thing on hardcore, so I won't complain. This was Storm Shield, and it rolled 28% damage reduction with a 31 life corruption. I was already using a 3-socketed Storm Shield, but having 2 or 3 pieces of the same gear is a valuable thing on hardcore. Map 9 gave me something that I find personally special, a unique Gilded Shield dropped. I never ever see this thing drop, but here it was just sitting on the floor. Even crazier was that it survived the slam. This was Herald of Zakarum, and it slammed with Cannot Be Frozen, extremely valuable. It did roll with just 1 on the combat skills, but this item is still special even though it's illegal for an Amazon to wear it. On the same map, I did what every normal person would do. I repeatedly stabbed the boss that permanently curses me with amplified damage. That's when a unique Shaco dropped. I don't need a Shaco because I'm using Andariel's Visage for the 95 breakpoint, but I bricked a Shaco in my last video, so now I'm seeking redemption. Except it bricked into a rare that slammed with 2 sockets. In a game where a 3-socketed shaft stop can exist, a 2-socketed Shaco would simply be too powerful. On map 11, I managed to get a Larzix puzzle box to drop. These have about the same rarity as a Vex or an Ohm rune, so it's basically a high rune drop. You can jam them into most armors and weapons to add sockets, and it doesn't count as a corruption. And on the same map, a unique tier 3 map dropped. And I tried to blind slam it, but all it did was just identify the map. This was Czar's Sanctum. Unique maps have some guaranteed drops, and this one guaranteed a skill charm to drop off the boss. Map 12 gave me a unique ballista. Naturally, it went straight into the box, and it slammed with some extra enhanced damage. It's actually kind of a tragic slam because it had to have rolled pretty low on the damage because even with this slam, it's only like 3% better than a perfect. And then I immediately dropped another phase blade and a unique Luna. The unique Luna died horribly. It was never meant to see the light of day. The phase blade barely survived with an FCR slam and 5% poison skill damage. I decided to do the unique map for map 13 because 13 is famously a lucky number, I think. If I can even get just a plain Java skiller, I will be happy. Passive and magic skills for the Amazon. Come on, you're so close, you're right there, but it's not a Java skiller. Come on, man. The same map gave me a unique ghost slave. My loot filter was telling my brain that this item is useful in some way. I guess it's for throw barbs or something. It's slammed for minus 58 monster defense. On map 14, a unique amulet drop. It could be anything, it could be everything, but it could also be a bricked rare with a very strange combination of stats. Anyway, that's okay. I'm pretty sure this was a Nokazan amulet anyway. The same map gave me yet another unique amulet. Once again, this could be anything. It could be everything. It ended up being a 26 Mars that slammed with some extra cold resistance. There's good news and bad news about this drop. The good news is that this is my second Mars. I was now completely okay with slamming my extremely unslammed perfect Mars that I was wearing already. The bad news is that there is no bad news. My Mars survived with plus energy for a slam. Well, I mean, technically, the energy slam is bad news, and it's a completely awful corruption, but having my best gear not brick on me is all I can ask for on solo self-found. As soon as I started map 16, I immediately found a unique ring. I really need this one to be a Nature's Peace, because Nature's Peace would allow me to do Lucian and possibly Rathma if I burned 1 or 2 Ohm runes. But that's too bad, because it bricked, instantly shattering all my hopes and dreams. And then I immediately found another unique phase blade. It could be another Azurath, but it was another lightsaber that slammed with 5 to life after each kill. Not the hugest, greatest slam ever, but probably a good starter weapon for a possible scuffed vengeance pally. Content pending. Still on the same map, I dropped a unique shadow plate. I rarely see unique shadow plates drop, and I enjoy finding these rare items, although I don't even know if this is a rare item. It was a steel carapace that slammed with like literally 8 billion enhanced defense. Good god, that's a lot of defense. I'm gonna find a use for that. I can't just let it sit in my stash forever like that, but it probably will sit in my stash forever. That's just how it goes. Map 19 gave me 0 unique items. It did give me a Grand Charm with 30 life and 8 resistance. Now I can be overcapped even harder on my resistances. I'm basically immune to Conviction R. My brutal stabbing spree earned me a unique ethereal Hyperion spear on map 20. I smashed some atoms into it and managed to land 6 entire sockets on it. I mean, I have to find a use for this one at least. It's a matter of principle at this point. The same map gave me unique bramble mitts, and my brain still hasn't adjusted to seeing bramble mitts as a unique, and it's bricked forever. Map 21 gifted me a unique jewel. I would commit several acts of degeneracy for literally any lightning facet. I'm very happy when I see these unique jewels drop, and, well, it was a fire facet, with -4 fire res and 3 fire damage. Maybe I won't be committing those acts of degeneracy after all. Map 22 gave me yet another unique Monarch shield. There's something about this map specifically that makes it so it drops unique Monarchs like all the time. This was another Storm shield, and it slammed with 7 magic damage reduction. It also rolled 25% damage reduction as well, exactly the same DR on my current Storm shield. Hey look, it's unique Bramble Mitts again, still on map 21. I get to redeem myself, see if I can maybe go home with a decent pair of unique Bramble Mitts. Nope, they bricked again. Also, I thought it said 20% faster cast rate, but it was actually faster block rate. Screw you too, game. On map 23, I dropped a unique Mithril point, not to be confused with the Mithril Scimitar from RuneScape. It ended up being a Shatter Blade, corrupted with 2 entire sockets on it, and almost rolled perfect on the minus cold res. I would also like to point out that my cursor is hovering exactly in the wrong spot for you to read the name. Also, finding all these items is making me want to roll a bunch of alts. Content pending. On map 27, I stomped on the Cockroach King several times and a unique Warfist popped out of his brain. The pure demonic essence was deeply appreciated as well. That's material needed for declone. This was Whispering Mirage, and it slammed with -7 enemy fire resistance. It also rolled -6 on the physical pierce. If I make a Bladeson, I'll need to apply science and mathematics to incorporate fire into the build to make use of that slam, somehow. On map 31, an entire low rune popped out of some random dead guy's body. Some people just happen to carry extremely rare runes right before dying in agony, apparently. And then I immediately found another low rune on map 33. This bastard video game was apparently on a low rune hype train. Low runes give max lightning resistance, which is crucial for the Lucian fight, but I know this game is just trying to trick me into losing my hardcore character to a scuffed Lucian fight. I don't trust it. Map 34 gave me an ethereal decapitator, an item I usually skip over to be honest, but this was ethereal. It slammed with both Deadly Strike and Enhanced Damage, bringing the top end of it to 1,341, which is the highest damage I've ever seen on this item. I know crafted weapons can get way better than this, but this little guy actually feels like it could decapitate something. Map 35 gave me a pair of set bramble mitts. Not a remarkable drop whatsoever, but it did end up slamming with some Deadly Strike, a nice thing to see on some gloves used for physical builds. This same map gave me a tier 2 unique map. This one ended up being Fallen Gardens, which guarantees a rainbow facet after killing the boss. That's very badly needed, and surely I won't get a 3/3 poison facet out of it. That would be painfully improbable. And of course, map 36 took place in the Fallen Gardens. A unique jewel ended up dropping from just a regular mob, not even the boss. It ended up being a fire facet, a pretty okay one. Then this little Grand Charm dropped. My expectations weren't high because this is the jewel map and not the charm map. It rolled 32 to life and 11 to all res. Still not perfect, but I'll happily take it to be even more immune to Conviction Aura. Then I reached the boss, and he naturally dropped a unique jewel. And it was, in fact, a lightning facet. It rolled perfect on the lightning pierce, and anti-perfect on the damage. The pierce is the more important stat though, so I will happily take it. I saved it for the time being. On map 37, I would finally end up running my first tier 3 map of the video, and it took this long because I genuinely wasn't finding any non-lightning immune tier 3s. Until I rolled this real treat of a Blood Moon map. I neglected to read the bottom text, which stated mobs have 48% maximum life. It legitimately took me almost 30 minutes to clear, but I did drop a unique demon head. It ended up being a completely useless bricked rare. Those 30 minutes amounted to complete nothingness. I just thought I would share that with the class. But this video game won't get any more pain for me because I ended up crafting this real treat of a Maiden Javelin, plus 4 skills and 50 IES, and that's without a corruption. Now it's time to puzzle piece it, and it got 2 entire sockets. Now to bring it home with the shard, and it's gone forever. Map 38 gave me another unique jewel. The irony of finding unslammable jewels in a slamming video is not lost on me. And then a unique ring dropped immediately after that. What more could I want? Well, slamming this ring for some mana per kill would be a fantastic start. It did get a 10% faster run walk slam, something I would normally welcome, but it's wasted on this bastard mantled heal ring. I see what you're getting at here, game. The jewel was a fire facet with some pretty unfortunate rolls. I'm gonna have to make a Fire Claw Druid or something because I have like 4 fire facets now. On map 39, a unique amulet dropped. Royal Crypts has been pretty generous with the amulets lately. It could be a +3 Mars, or it could be a Mahim Oak with 10% FHR slam. That works too. Ironically, I am pretty short on the faster hit recovery when I'm wearing Shaftstop for tier 3 maps. Bonebrow of the Bonebrow clan dropped a champion sword on the same map. Same deal as always, straight into the Satan box, and it got requirement minus 33% on it. It also rolled with 13% to max life. I will definitely puzzle box this one because I intend to make a Berserk Barb in the future. I still have a chance to get 4 sockets on this thing with a puzzle box. And then a Bird Lady dropped a Vex rune, still on the same map. This is why I keep running Royal Crypts. It's been very good to me this season. Speaking of Barbarian gear, a unique Conqueror crown dropped on map 40. It really feels like it's going to break, but it did not break. I landed 4 to life after each kill. Basically, it's a pair of Dracul's grafts that you glue to your forehead. Map 41 dropped another unique ceremonial javelin. Yeah, now you want to start dropping Titans 3 months after the season starts. It slammed for 2 sockets, but actually, it also bricked, which is exactly what I expected to happen to any gear relevant to my class. There comes a time in everyone's life when one must face their fears. My fear is the Throne of Insanity, which is an absolute clusterfuck of a map. but I can't be scared my whole life. Also, it has ghost mobs in it, so it's getting done. I even found a unique jewel. This little guy ended up being a poison facet, which rolled perfect on the poison damage and anti-perfect on the minus res. And then I immediately found a unique Grim Shield and a unique Totemic Mask. I was finding the entire game through chests at this point. The Totemic Mask slammed with 3 sockets, but it also died to death. The Grim Shield ended up being a lidless wall that slammed with 10 MDR, but it was also my very first +2 skill shield, the best shield possible, until I can get a skill slam on one of these, which has like a 1% chance of happening, so basically it's never happening. Map 43 was another Throne of Insanity, and this time a unique wing helm drop. A great helm that I was happy to have, except it bricked, and now I have to throw it away and reflect on all my life choices that led me up to this moment. And then a unique war pike dropped on the same map. It ended up being a corpse pail, which is not a steel pillar. It rolled with +1 to anxiety and depression. Then a unique battle cestus dropped. Add that one to the long list of chest items found, except it also bricked. I could build a small prison with all these bricked items. Map 48 gave me another unique ring. It could be a perfect nature's piece with an all-res slam, or it could be a dwarf star with +9 energy slam. Praise be to Satan. Map 49 was another Blood Moon map, and some unique Pharaoh Claws dropped. This was Fire Lizard's Talon, which slammed for mana per kill, and it rolled a perfect -15 on the fire res. Now I just need to figure out how to rip that slam out of that item and glue it into one of my rings. On exactly map 50, I dropped a unique Fury Visor. I wasn't even sure what this item was, but blind slamming it resulted in a Wolf Howl with a massive attack rating slam on it, and apparently some light radius. I didn't even know that was a slam on, to be honest. This item is crucial for making a Wolf Barb because, well, you know, it gives the werewolf skill. And then a unique Monarch dropped, my 12 millionth one, but I won't ever get tired of seeing it drop in hardcore. And a unique tier 3 map dropped as well. The poor get richer in this video game. The slam was absolutely massive, so massive that it imploded into a bricked item. The tier 3 map ended up being Warlord of Blood. This map is definitely the most interesting one in my opinion, and it's the perfect map for what I'm going for here. Every mob in this map drops a guaranteed corrupted item, and the final boss drops a unique corrupted item, the perfect map for this kind of run. But I was young and ignorant. I had no idea what kind of ride I was in for, because this map makes the Throne of Insanity look like the chair of normalcy, or some shit like that. I did drop a unique Bloodlord skull pretty early on into the run, and because it was already corrupted, I had to bend the rules a little bit, because slamming an already slammed item doesn't work. It identified as a Dark Force spawn that pre-slammed as a 1-socketed item. I already had a 3-socketed Dark Force, so I just tossed it. It was really cool to see a bunch of corrupted items drop, but man, these mobs were really tanky. I was already 8 minutes into the map, and I had only just encountered the first mini-boss. I encountered the avatar of pure evil, Corey. I always knew people named Corey harbored dark evil secrets, so it didn't surprise me at all to see a demon named Corey in here. Nothing of note was found until I found who I believe was the final boss of the map. He died slowly, partly because my build is firmly in the C tier, but also because all the mobs have 8 billion trillion health. He went down, and he dropped a unique skull cap. Huh. And then I almost died to these dickhead charger zombies. I had been running the map for 37 minutes already, but hardcore has taught me how to take a hint, and the game was strongly hinting that it was time for me to just move on already. It made me feel like a degenerate. On map 53, I found an ethereal unique winged harpoon. This was the second winged harpoon I found this season, the first one also being ethereal. This is Gargoyle's Bite. It's a great weapon for poison jab Amazons, but I wouldn't know anything about that because they bricked just like the last ones did. Map 57 threw a bright and shiny Shaco at my screen. Also, my loot filter is going pretty crazy because I was committing armed robbery against a treasure goblin. All my Shacos have bricked, but this was my chance at redemption. Shaco is a great item, and it's bricked again. This was a little awkward, but I forgot to hit the record button on map 61. I found this little berserker axe. It was a death cleaver that slammed with 27% crushing blow. And on the same map, I found a unique bone visage, because I'm apparently going to find an entire physical gear set on this map. It was a giant skull that slammed with replenished life. It got some decent rolls too, almost perfect pierce, 72 ED, 31 strength. Then a unique Scourge dropped way off screen on map 64. This one ended up being a Horizons Tornado, and it slammed with minus 47 million billion requirement. On map 68, I was thinking about how long it had been since I last saw a unique Monarch, and then a unique Monarch dropped. But actually, this Worldstone Shard revealed this item to be a Bone Ward, which is definitely not a Storm Shield. Map 71 gave me another unique amulet from the Royal Crypts. This was a Crescent Moon that slammed with some cold resistance, which fits perfectly with the cold theme of this item. A unique Grim Shield dropped for map 73, giving me another opportunity to blind slam a possible +3 shield, or it could just brick into a rare. I'm okay with that too. If I'm being honest, it would have been worse to get a +1 slam on a Littlest that only rolled +1 from the start. And then a Vampire Fang belt dropped in the same map. I've bricked like 10 of these already, but surely I'd get lucky on the 11th one. This was Nosferatu's Coil that ended up slamming with a small amount of cold resistance. This was, of course, a great mercenary belt, and I'm honestly just glad this thing finally survived. And because it's Royal Crypts, another unique item dropped, and this one was an Eldritch Orb. It ended up being a Shootist Temper that slammed with 2 sockets. Casual Ohm Rune drop on the same map still. I'm just gonna run Royal Crypts forever now. I blatantly ignored a set lacquered plate on map 77 because I found like 20 of them already, but then an Ethereal Berserker Axe dropped, an item I've never seen in its ethereal form. I was low-key dreading this moment because special items like these are destined to brick, but it ended up surviving as a Death Cleaver with an attack rating slam. The rolls were pretty much in the lower middle range, but I'm 100% gonna put this thing on an alt. And then I got the Gheed event on the same map. His selection was absolutely degenerate, but I did have a chance at getting a good Amazon Spear. I managed to land a Lysander's Flank, which is actually a solid spear for the Lucian fight. Let's just pretend it's unidentified. It slammed with minus 10% enemy poison res. The slam only just barely missed the mark, I think. Map 81 blessed me with a glorious, unique Mithril Coil. This item is great because using this along with a Crown of Ages would let me run Infinity and a Matriarchal Spear without instantly dying to an Archer. Except this game was coded exclusively by bastards, it bricked, and now I'll have to run another 100 maps just to see another one. And then I administered some electrotherapy to a random wizard until he dropped a legendary mallet. It ended up being a Stone Crusher, and it slammed with minus poison res. Again with the poison res. It also got anti-perfect on the fizz res. Map 86 dropped the very first unique Matriarchal Pike I've seen since making the character. I enjoyed this drop a lot because I'm actually a big fan of Spearzons. It ended up being Zyre's Resolve, and I'm certainly pronouncing that wrong, but it slammed with an entire 6-pack of sockets. That's enough sockets to kill Satan. Now I'm tempted to make a Spearzon. I'm actually tempted to make like 6 alts right now. Then a unique ring dropped on the same map. It could be anything. It could be a Dwarf Star, but it could also be a Dwarf Star with an attack rating slam. These weird bipedal cows were hiding a unique Phase Blade on map 87. It ended up being a lightsaber that slammed with 4 sockets. Now I want to make a Vengeance Pally, but first I have to make a Spearzon. But maybe I'll make a Fire Sork, because this Grand Charm identified as a Fire Skiller with 39 million health. And then I got another Gheed event. Yeah, sure, don't help me kill the flesh-eating demons, Gheed. It's not like there's a spiritually apocalyptic event going on. The selection was completely degenerate, but actually, I did manage to land an Ethereal Stormspire. Exceptionally useful on an Innocence Mercenary for a lightning build. Now, let's just pretend it's unidentified for the blind slam. Well, it slammed 6 sockets, but it's absolutely, completely, utterly bricked. In a world where 2-socketed +3 Shakos can exist, a 6-socketed Stormspire would simply be too powerful. Map 89 was another Royal Crypts, and it gave me my first pair of unique battle boots. A shard was jammed into them for 15 poison res on a 47 Magic Find War Traveler. I legitimately have a full physical gear set now. I was killing the cow people again, and suddenly a unique Spiderweb Sash dropped. This was an Arachnid Mesh that slammed with a negligible 15 lightning resistance. It also rolled 19% on the FCR, which is just 1 off from perfect. Then I got yet another Gheed event on map 92. The Gheed RNG was honestly out of this world. He had an unidentified amulet that ended up being an Atmos Scarab. Now I really actually seriously have a full physical set. Okay, let's just pretend it's unidentified. It ended up slamming for some extra poison resistance. Map 94 gave me a unique Balrog skin, which is probably my favorite unique chest armor in this game. It slammed with 2 sockets, which is perfect for me, because I wouldn't need to burn my extremely limited supply of puzzle boxes on my other Arcane's Valor. The same map also gave me a unique amulet. I use the word unique very loosely here because it bricked, and the world will never know what this amulet used to be. And then a unique Seraph Rod dropped, and I didn't have the slightest clue as to what this thing was, but my loot filter was screaming at me to pick it up. It ended up being Akarat's Devotion. It slammed with 4 life after each kill, and it rolled +4 to Blessed Hammer. So this is a hammered-in weapon, basically. I finished things off by running the Chair of Psychosis map. Nothing else worth noting dropped unless you count this russet armor. It ended up being a Scolders with 3 sockets. Pretty nice for Magic Find, but to be honest, the Magic Find that's given in maps is usually enough to find things like an Ethereal Death Cleaver. You just don't really need Magic Find when you're running maps. But that is, factually, 100 maps ran and completed. We found a lot of interesting items for this session, mostly things that just make me want to roll at 10,000 alts, but I am still missing that Griffins and or Kira's. I'll go over the gear real quick. No major changes from last time or even since the start of this video. The jabs were new and crafted before the start of the video. The gloves are tragic because 6 hours at Anya gave me 2 320s and both of them bricked. It made me rip all my hair out, but that's okay because I'm still able to reach the 95 breakpoint with Andario's Visage gemmed with an IAS jewel. The Arcane's Valor is gemmed with mana per kill jewels. I also have a 3-socket shaft stop to swap when doing tier 3 maps. It's kind of mandatory. 6 battle order CTA and a +2 skill shield, just so I can CTA even harder. Charms were mostly life and or res, along with 3 skillers, one of them with a decent bit of life and the rest plain. A Zon Torch that I got literally on the first Ubers. I couldn't ask for better, and I probably won't get better. And then an Annie Charm from D-Clone. I'm particularly proud of that one, but I do intend on running D-Clone again for a better Annie. Once again, the hardcore solo self-found Amazon has come such a long way, but she's not at the pinnacle just yet. There's still things I need to shoot for, and I suspect they're going to take me more than 100 maps to get all that I need. Because even though maps and drops are buffed, it still takes a while to get that Griffins or a full suite of skillers on hardcore solo self-found. I will probably switch this Amazon to Lightning Fury. The reason I ran Lightning Strike in the first place was because I wanted to experience the danger of being a melee build while subjecting myself to endgame content. But now that I'm geared with Infinity, the challenge aspect isn't as challenging these days, so I might as well be Lightning Fury. It's also absurdly fun to play. For future videos, I'm thinking of working on some alts. I enjoy doing these Magic Find videos a lot, but I do want to switch things up, or at least switch up the characters. I'm open to suggestions. I'm leaning towards Barb. Preferably not Warcry. I'm also open to the idea of doing some sort of challenge run. If you enjoyed the content, do consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It helps the channel tremendously, and the support that's been shown lately has been nothing short of incredible. Also, I apologize for this taking so long. It's been a busy summer at work, but things are starting to wind down. I will see you all on the next one. Take care and stay safe.